Hare Krišna. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Janavalabha Jaya Giri Varadari Jaya Giri Varadari 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 Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Kunja Vihari Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Natira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Jaya Pancha Tattva Jaya Pancha Tattva Jaya Pancha Tattva Jaya Pancha Tattva Jaya Goranitai Jaya Goranitai Jaya Goranitai Jaya Goranitai Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Pada Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Shila Prabhupada. Shri Panchatattva ki jai, Shri Gornitai ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 24. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We read a few texts, and when we get to the first text with purport, then we can say something about it. Okay, we start with text 21, 23, I think. Punarvasu had a son and a daughter named Ahuka and Ahuki, respectively, and Ahuka had two sons named Devaka and Ugrasena. Devaka had 4 sons named Devavan, Upadeva, Sudeva, and Devavardhana. And he also had 7 daughters named Shantideva, Upadeva, Shideva, Devarakshita, Sahadeva, Devaki, and Dritadeva. Dritadeva was the eldest. Vasudeva, the father of Krishna, married all these sisters. So we're getting close to some personalities we might have heard of. We have here Ugrasena and Devaki and Vasudeva. Text 24. Kamsa, Sunama, Niagroda, Kanka, Shanku, Suhu, Rashtrapala, Drishti, and Tushtiman were the sons of Ugrasena. Kamsa, Kamsavati, Kanka, Shurabu, and Rashtrapalika were the daughters of Ugrasena. They became the wives of Vasudeva's younger brothers. The son of Chitrarata was Vidurata, the son of Vidurata was Shura, and his son was Bhajamana. The son of Bhajamana was Shini, the son of Shini was Boja, and the son of Boja was Hridika. The 3 sons of Hridika were Devamida, Shatadanu, and Kritavarma. The son of Devamida was Shura, whose wife was named Marisha. Through Marisha, King Shura begot Vasudeva, Devabhaga, Devashrava, Anaka, Shinjaya, Shamaka, Kanka, Shamika, Vatsaka, and Vrika. These 10 sons were spotlessly pious personalities. When Vasudeva was born, the demigods from the heavenly kingdom sounded kettle drums. Therefore, Vasudeva, who provided the proper place for the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was also known as Anaka Dundubi. The 5 daughters of King Shura, named Prita, Shrutadeva, Shrutakirti, Shrutashrava, and Raja Hidevi were Vasudeva's sisters. Shura gave Prita to his friend Kunti, who had no issue, and therefore another name of Prita was Kunti. Once when Durvasa was a guest at the house of Prita's father, Kunti, Prita satisfied Durvasa by rendering service. Therefore, she received a mystic power by which she could call any demigod. To examine the potency of the mystic power, the pious Kunti immediately called for the sun god. As soon as Kunti called for the demigod of the sun, he immediately appeared before her, and she was very much surprised. She told the sun god, "I was simply examining the effectiveness of this mystic power. I am sorry I have called you unnecessarily. Please return and excuse me." Read text 34. Amogam deva sandarsham adadet vaichat majam yoniryatana dushyata kartaham te sumadhyame amogam deva sandarsham adadet vaichat majam yoniryatana dushyata kartaham te sumadhyame Amoga deva sandarsham Esanichan raja Amoga deva sandarsham Adadet vaichat majam Nirata nadusheta Adam te sumadhyame Matajis Uvadeva sandarsham Dadetva ichatmajam Yoni Ryata Nanusheta Kartaham Te Sumadhyame Amogadeva Sandarsham Dade Tvai Chatmajam Niryatana Dusheta Ham Te Sumadhyame Amogam without failure. Deva Sandarsham, meeting with the demigods. Adade, I shall give my semen. Tvai, unto you. Cha, also. Atmajam, a son. Yoni, the source of birth. Yata, as. Na, not. Dusheta, becomes polluted. Karta, shall arrange. Aham, I. Te, unto you. Sumadhyame, O beautiful girl. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The Sun God said, O beautiful Prita, your meeting with the demigods cannot be fruitless. Therefore, let me place my seed in your womb so that you may bear a son. I shall arrange to keep your virginity intact since you are still an unmarried girl. Purport. According to Vedic civilization, if a girl gives birth to a child before she is married, no one will marry her. Therefore, although the sun god, after appearing before Prita, wanted to give her a child, Prita hesitated because she was still unmarried. To keep her virginity undisturbed, the sun god arranged to give her a child that came from her ear, and therefore the child was known as Karna. The custom is that a girl should be married akshata yoni, that is, with her virginity undisturbed. A girl should never bear a child before her marriage. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Goravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasheter Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Of course, this part of Bhagavatam is a list of names, but as we get closer to the appearance of Krishna, this list of names are more and more relevant somehow. Very important personalities. We hear about King Ugrasena, hear about Devaki, Vasudeva, even Kamsa. Quite a big personality. He made it in the Bhagavatam. And he has quite an important role there. And then we have here Kunti, and this is the well-known episode that Kunti satisfies Durvasa Muni. And she gets this benediction, and in a childish way somehow, she's thinking, oh, let's see if it works. And guess what? Sometimes the benedictions of big personalities actually work. So she's calling like, okay, let's see if the sun god will come. And he comes, and she's like, what's this? What's going on here? She's also surprised, oh, this actually works. It's quite technology. And of course, we have her, she's a bit, so what will we do here? Because it's really unheard of in Vedic culture that Mataji will have a child before marriage. And Srila Prabhupada, so we see how this is solved in this. But Srila Prabhupada uses this example to stress a bit this Vedic culture somehow. And one of the Vedic culture, one of the important aspects of Vedic culture is that man and female are different. And they have specific duties, they have different duties. And there's a culture. And if you follow this culture, then things are all right. Like here, also in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna gives the same example, the same argument to Krishna. He says, the ladies will be unmarried and there will be unwanted progeny. And what will happen? There will be a big mess. So Krishna says, yes, it's true. So Srila Prabhupada is stressing on this point. And this is a topic which can be very sensitive in current society. Very sensitive, sometimes even amongst devotees, you know, like can be a very strong way to say, oh, this is the role of the Mataji, this is the role of the Prabhu, that we should be married, we should not. But this is the Vedic version. Of course, to exactly understand what's the Vedic version, it takes quite some maturity and it takes quite some guidance from senior devotees who understand this from all angles, because sometimes we have this tendency to read one quote and just take this part. And then we have to understand that there's this part, there's this quote, and how they go together. It's very. So it takes quite some maturity. But we have to strive to understand what's the Vedic version, and we should stick to the Vedic version also. This is an important general topic that sometimes some topics might not be according to our common sense, you know, like our idea. But if these two are different, then we should understand that Vedic version is better. So that's the famous part when Mahatma Gandhi came to Britain, and they asked what he thinks about the British culture, and he says it would be a good idea. So probably if he would come to Slovenia, he would also say that it would be a good idea. Probably Slovenian culture is a bit better than the British one, but it still would be a good idea to. And we come from this kind of cultures where our common sense or our things that seem natural are not so might not be natural. So we should see what's the Vedic version and stick to the Vedic version. That's what we're trying to do. And there's an interesting phenomenon which happens many times. There's a phenomenon of apasampradaya. Apasampradaya means deviated sampradayas, schools, which was quite common in Vaishnavism, and this, of course, it's always a common phenomenon. And the idea, what usually happens, is that people come to Krishna consciousness and they take some of this, of the ideas from Krishna consciousness, and they bring their own ideas, which they had from before, and they make a mix. And then, you know, they take some things from Krishna consciousness and they say, this thing really, we don't like this part, we have our own ideas. So they make their mix, and there's this famous group from Hawaii. They were, what was his name? Siddhaswarup. He was Prabhu. He was even sannyas at some point. So he was somehow a very young guru. He had some followers, and they were into yoga, Ayurveda, things like this. So they came to Prabhupada. He was very attracted to Prabhupada. So he came with the whole organization, with all his disciples. And of course, he never actually took 100% the Prabhupada's teachings. So after some time, he split from ISKCON, and he made a mix, a bit of yoga, a bit of Ayurveda, a bit of very important, and a bit of Vaishnavism also. You know, Krishna is God, but yoga is very important. So we tend to do this kind of mix. So that's why it's really important to study Srila Prabhupada's books. I was reading, and to really understand Prabhupada's philosophy properly, because I was reading, some devotee was explaining how these Apasampradayas propagate. And they usually recruit from the devotees, because they don't usually preach. So they just recruit from the devotees. And they usually recruit the devotees who don't know the philosophy. It's simple. It's that simple. If they don't know the philosophy, they can be influenced. If the devotees are very strong in philosophy, you know, like someone who's an expert in a field, instantly he says, this is not from this movie. You know, instantly he says, oh, this is wrong. Someone who's very educated in one field. Someone else, you can say anything, you know. Like, so yeah, that's one thing. It's very important to study the books and to understand the philosophy, and then also this because otherwise, you know, we ourselves will introduce these ideas in ISKCON. Oh, because that, you know, yeah, things that usually they make sense. They're not, you know, like. So that's why it's really important to study the philosophy, and then we cannot be influenced so easily. If you understand what's going on, then you hear some things that are not matching the philosophy. You'll be like, many times, you don't need to say anything, but you're like, oh, okay, whatever. Just ignore it. So that's important, and the importance to not deviate. What actually Apasampradayas are doing is that they are taking some aspect of the philosophy which they cannot follow, and change the philosophy. You know, like I really like alcohol. So I changed the philosophy that actually alcohol is allowed in this school. You know, so we can all come together, drink a glass of wine, and meditate on Krishna. So I will find some followers, of course. Anyway, and if we are sincere, if someone is really sincere, then he will say, okay, I have a problem with alcohol, it's not good, and I will really pray sincerely to Krishna to help me overcome this problem. You know, I will not say, this is not needed anymore. You know, we change the philosophy. Anyway, so this is one part that we should find what the philosophy is and try to follow it as it is. You know, like, and if there's some topic which might be different ideas in our common sense in a society or in Vedas, we should take the version of the Vedas of Srila Prabhupada. So that's one thing, and then the other really important thing is how we preach about this, because this is like very interesting topic for me. This how to preach, and we had this discussion last time about truthfulness. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita some ideas about truthfulness. He says, yes, you should be truthful, of course. But, he says, austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. He says, okay, you should be truthful, but what you say should be pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating. very, very important that we say things, say the truth in a way that it's beneficial. No, we don't just want to say the truth. Oh, it's the truth, Prabhu, because Prabhupada says so. I'm quoting from the Shastras. For one very interesting example. Maharaj quoted, I think yesterday, this interesting incident with Vallabhacharya and Lord Chaitanya. Vallabhacharya, this great scholar, comes to Lord Chaitanya and he says, I wrote this commentary that surpasses Sridhar Swami. And Lord Chaitanya says, whoever doesn't accept the Swami, I consider a prostitute. Very hard, like very, very hard remark. And the devotees, in some context, they put this in the back to Godhead. In India, not in the West. I mean, in the West, nobody knows who's Vallabhacharya, But they put it in back to Godhead in India. So, and of course, they got some reactions. There was a huge mess because of this. And also Sumati Morarji, she was from Vallabhacharya Sampradaya. Very nice Vaishnavi. So she was very disturbed about this. And this got to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada personally wrote to her and apologizing for the mistake of his disciples. So, and I think they even put something in Back to Godhead in the next edition. So this is an example where it was truth. They didn't invent anything. They just took the text from Chaitanya Charitamrita and they put it in Back to Godhead. No, it was truth, but they didn't understand some aspects which are time, place, circumstances. What was this? So actually the teaching of this is to be humble, to always accept some authority. And it's not to criticize Vallabhacharya. Vallabhacharya is huge personality, is an acharya. So yeah, we should not think, oh, Vallabhacharya, Lord Chaitanya says he's like a prostitute, so low quality Vaishnava. No, Vallabhacharya is a huge devotee. So that's the idea. We should understand what to say when and to whom. Like this, usually this kind of topic we discuss in the association of devotees, and we just to understand that it's important. Even so great personalities, it's important that they accept some authority. And there's what was quoted also, the example of Vidura and Dhritarashtra. So you can say, in this case, there was some heavy preaching, and that was really heavy preaching. Vidura is using really strong words to wake up Dhritarashtra. But you have to also look at the context in which he's doing this. Like Vidura is a real well-wisher of Dhritarashtra. He's not doing this to criticize Dhritarashtra. He's doing this to help him. And more important than that, Dhritarashtra knows this. They have this relationship, because sometimes we have this tendency to criticize people, to give some instructions to people without establishing the relationship. I had this experience in the beginning in Krishna consciousness. I was coming to the temple since a few months, something like that. And one devotee who never spoke to me before came and told me something, gave me some instruction. And I was looking, I mean, I didn't say it externally, but I was looking like, who are you, man? Who are you? Maybe you first come and say hi, I'm this devotee, I never talk to this devotee, So it's very, very important to develop this relationship, which Vidura had with Dhritarashtra. Vidura, their brothers, they had, and Vidura was his advisor. So very, very important. It was proper relationship that they did. So first Vidura was building this relationship for many, many years until he was chopping. He didn't just go and from the street, Vidura comes and is like, oh, Dhritarashtra, you're in Maya. No, he's building this relationship for lots of time and then chopping. Also, you have to see that Vidura is preaching in a very intelligent way. He understands he understands very well the position of Dhritarashtra. He understands what he can ask from him and what he can't ask from him. Because Vidura is a devotee, so normally he would try to inspire anyone to become a devotee of Krishna. But he knows Dhritarashtra can't do it. It's too much for him. So that's why he's telling him to practice some yoga. To renounce everything, go and practice some impersonal yoga, actually. Because he knows it's too much. Too much. It's not something you can ask. So that's also very important to know when you're preaching to someone what you can say and what you cannot say, what they can digest and what they can't digest, according to their level, not according to what you think they should be. No, very important. And another another interesting thing which I was asking at some point His Holiness Bhakti Vaibhava Maharaj about, it was like, how to preach about illicit sex, and he looked at me and he said, it was in class, so he was looking at me and said, you don't preach about illicit sex. you don't preach about this. So what I understood from this is that there are some really sensitive topics, really sensitive topics, and usually it's not that you have to present these topics first. It's not if someone comes to the temple and is like, do you have a girlfriend? Yes. Do you do illicit sex? This is not an intelligent way of preaching. You usually tell him some things from Krishna consciousness that he can appreciate. Something else. Like you see, okay, she has a girlfriend, of course, there's some illicit sex. No, I mean, it's not that you don't see, but you pretend that you don't see, There must be something, no problem. But you have to give something that he can appreciate. And you have to see, you have to be intelligent enough to see, okay, this person, what he can appreciate. And eventually, what you're trying to do is build his faith, his Shraddha, and make him have faith in the association of devotees. And then, if you manage to, next step, you can inspire to do some service, bhajana, kriya, sadhana, chant some rounds, read something. And then, at some point, when you cultivate a relationship in which you're their well-wisher, they understand, and at some point you can break you can go to the sensitive point and you're like, also, this would be better if you could do like that. And by that time, you should have enough, they should have enough faith in you to accept it. So it's the whole point, what I'm trying to stress, is that it doesn't require just truthfulness. I'm quoting from the Shastra, Prabhu. It's Shastra. Shastra says it requires a lot of intelligence and common sense to understand what to say at what point and how. Same things you can say in different way and have different effects. Not just to give. And also you have to be relevant to them. Like if you have an program about we're teaching you bhakti-yoga today. Like, what's bhakti-yoga? We don't care. What's this bhakti-yoga? And then you're like, you can go, we'll teach you today about karma. What's this karma? We don't care. Nobody will come. Karma, maybe they care. But if you say, okay, we'll teach you the secret ingredients of success. Like, wow. Everyone will come. And they'll say, okay, there's secret ingredient of success is that you have to have good karma. Which is true, actually. Sometimes they have hard work and this. So, yeah, this is a bit tricky. But the whole idea is how to present our philosophy in a way that is relevant on topics that are relevant. Like, people want to be successful. Yes, okay, no problem. We'll tell you how to be successful in material life. We're not even speaking that success means that actually you surrender to Krishna. Okay, in material life, or there's other factors of success. You can work hard, you can be that, and if you have bad karma, what to say? So we can present things in a way that are relevant for them. Okay, I'll just stop here. There's some other ideas, but that's the whole idea that when we speak about these topics, were especially sensitive topics, we should know how to say the truth in a way that is intelligent and then that is productive, that is beneficial for the others. Because we don't want to. We want to bring people closer to Krishna and not further from Krishna. So many times, if you just present some Shastric quotes, like telling this is the Shastra, you'll actually bring people further away from Krishna. You're not helping them, you know. So many times you can, like you see these people. That's why this Madhyama platform means if they are inimical, you don't tell them anything. Okay, nice to meet you. Have a nice day. Okay. And what about Krishna and Radharani? Nice to meet you. Have a nice day. I mean, you have to say it in a nice way, but yeah. Anyway, that's just a few points. There's, I guess, Bhaktadoman is preparing with some questions.
Okay, so you were speaking about, thank you for the lecture, you were speaking about connecting a good relationship with people. So what are some tips how we can do that nicely?
Yeah, you can just be nice to people. When they come to temple, like if you don't know how to preach, maybe, when they come to temple, you can say, hi, nice to meet you. Welcome. How did you find out about Krishna consciousness? That's one thing. You can normal. It's common sense. You can just build a normal relationship. You be nice. Be warm person, and you can also listen to them. You know, like. Someone was telling me that when you're coaching someone, you should listen 60% of the time. Because people, they like their ideas. So if you listen to their ideas, then then they will consider that you're a friend, and they will also listen to your ideas. That's the most important. And also, it's very, very important to listen, because we don't have a one size fits all. You know, Krishna consciousness is not one size of shoes is good for everyone. Krishna consciousness means, yeah, of course, everyone is chanting Hare Krishna. But how to advance in Krishna consciousness, it's somehow different. And if you know something about these people, then it's helpful to give them some relevant advice. You know, if they have a wife and 2 small children, probably you don't want to move them in the temple straight away. You know, like it's a common sense. And then it's important to give them something, because you're trying to build Shraddha, that they have faith in. Eventually you want to have them to have faith in Srila Prabhupada. But you want to have faith in you also. So you can say something that intelligent from the Shastras that they can appreciate. So they're like, oh, this guy is nice. He's not only nice, but he's also intelligent. Okay. Well, nice. It doesn't have to be, you know, like straight to the point, you know, like something he can appreciate. He likes yoga, you tell him about yoga. He likes this. Yeah, I think that's some points. There's many more. Probably.
Thank you.
Thank you for the lecture. Nice lecture. I wanted to. You were speaking about if we have our concepts and Vedic version, then of course we accept Vedic version, even if we don't understand completely how it fits in our life. But then, that's first point. It's not always clear, even among the Vaishnava scholars, what Vedic version is. That's my first kind of objection to the, not objection, but question, how to make it practical. And then the second thing is, something makes sense to us, but we will never do nothing which ultimately doesn't make sense to us. So yeah. Krishna says, we preach to people not only the truth, but in a way that it's beneficial and pleasant. So nothing that's not beneficial and pleasant, and we also, which we don't perceive it like this, we won't do it. No? So ultimately, Vedic version has to make sense to us in our practical life. So these are two things which I want to ask. Vedic version is not always clear what it is, and ultimately it makes sense to us. So how we transport Vedic version into our life under this condition that it's not clear what it is, and that ultimately it has to make sense to me. If you have some comments on this.
If something doesn't make sense, that's why we have spiritual masters. We will probably find some people for whom it makes more sense. What's a spiritual master? That's quite a big topic. Might not be our initiating spiritual master. Might be someone else. So we should ask. And many times, these things which there's some contradictions between senior Vaishnavas, they're not so relevant for us. You know, like we like contradictions because we're in Kali Yuga. Oh, this Swami said this, and this Swami said this. Oh my God! But actually, most of the time, it's not really relevant for us. On our level, this doesn't change that we have to chant Hare Krishna and something, and it's and accept some authority. And the fact that we have to agree with everything, well, that's to understand everything. That's also not gonna happen, And some things we have to agree and understand, and some things we have to accept. If you read Bhagavad Gita, some things you understand, and some things you don't understand. But still, because you're intelligent, you understand, okay, these things are true, and these other things are true, but I don't understand why. And sometimes even if you don't understand why, you can still do it. Why not? You understand what's the version, you don't understand why. Why? Why do we have to put a hand like this when we take fire? Put the hand here. No, is this the most important of our practice? It's not. And there's also part of the idea that we have to accept some authority. And sometimes it's some decisions are in some way or another, but it's important to accept some authority, because if everyone is like, I have my own ideas, this is Madhyama platform. If I have my own ideas and everyone has their own ideas, we're not gonna be able to do anything, anything. We want to go for Harinam, and we announce, okay, today we'll have Harinam at 10 o'clock. We need someone to play harmonium or accordion, we need someone to play kartals, and we need someone to play mridanga. And the first devotee comes, oh, I was thinking, for me it's better at 11. And then the second, and then you're like, okay. And then the second devotee said, no, maybe we do it in the afternoon. And the third devotee said, oh, but I know you wanted me to play mridanga, but I like to play kartals today. But there's no one to play mridanga today. But anyway, I like to play kartals. So it's gonna be a mess, you can't do anything if you have this mindset that I do my own thing, Of course, you have to be independently thoughtful, but also learn how to follow some instructions which we might not have the same idea, but that's once I heard cooperate. The characteristic of Madhyama Adhikari is that he knows when to make compromises. He's like, okay, I want it at 11, but okay, we'll go at 10, and I will reschedule some things, and I will do it. So that's also important. That of course we have to understand as much as possible, but especially this doesn't happen overnight, and until we don't understand, we still can cooperate and do something. Don't say, I had other ideas. Okay, and people who are trying to organize something, they will be like, they have 10 people who have other ideas, and they will be like, okay guys, we're not gonna do anything anymore. We just stop, and everyone goes home, and we close the temple, and that's it. Saha. No, anyway, I'm not sure if that's that's helpful, but yeah, some ideas. Yeah. After maybe. I don't know. I don't know in the spiritual world if they understand everything. Maybe gopis come and tell you we have to bring some flowers for Krishna, and you're not gonna ask them, what are you gonna do these flowers? Are you going to do this type of puja or that type of puja? because you understand, oh, this is the representatives of Krishna, and I love Krishna, and this is a wonderful opportunity for to do something for Krishna. You'll not ask this question. You'll be like, okay, yes, thank you for this opportunity for service. You know, like, so I don't know if you have to understand everything. And, thank you so much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.